Welcome to Watch What Crappens. To get our videos as soon as they're released instead of waiting for a week, head over to our Patreon. That's also where you'll find our bonus episodes and our Discord community. We love you guys.
Well, hello and welcome to Watch What Crappens, a podcast about all that crap on Bravo we love to talk about. I'm Ben Mandelker, and joining me today is the glorious and sweet Ronnie Karam. Hi, Ronnie.
Hi. How you doing?
I'm great. It's Monday. I'm caffeinated. I just had a breakfast burrito. That was delicious. So I can't think of a better way to start the day. Today we're talking Married to Medicine. Triumphant reunion episode. You know, you sit through the awful couples trips episode 3 in a row where nothing happens, but then you get to the promised land of the Married to Medicine reunion and all is forgiven. Am I right? So we are talking about that today.
Truly.
Truly. And in fact, when they show clips of the season on the reunion, I'm like, wow, what a great season. I'm like, you know, it really would have been a great season if they just condensed the couples trip down to one episode or even two, just to like cut the fluff and just get to the good stuff. Anyway,
Married to Medicine has that issue though. Every year, I feel like every year of the show, the season starts off and people are like, "This is the best season ever. This show's so good," and we're all so excited. And then by the end, it's like, "Oh, for Christ's sake!" I don't know if maybe it needs fewer episodes. You know, I'm a big proponent of 12-episode seasons. I'm a huge fan of a 12-episode season, and this one was close. It was only 14. But that would have gotten rid of most of that couples trip. So, but you know what? It also is a reminder of what a good cast this is. This show, like the core cast on this show, is just magic. And every time we have a reunion, you are reminded that these are pros here.
Absolutely.
Today.
Well, they are so funny. And it's like, I'm also like, this show's been around for a long time and there's just so much backstory here. And, you know, I fell off of it the past like 2 seasons, I think it was. 2 to 3 seasons. I was like watching it, half watching. And I'm really actually happy to have returned to it. You know, you stuck with it like full. You were full in it the whole time. I had like a little bit of a break. But I'm so happy to have been back in it, even with that deadly couples trip, because this reunion reminds us like it's so good. But it is like a show that does kind of hit the same notes over and over again. Like, oh, it's another reunion where Simone is arriving in. She's hot and she's declaring that she's never going to be friends with someone ever again. It's like every year this happens. But anyway, before we get into that.
It's either Heavenly or Jackie. This year it's both Heavenly and Jackie.
It's the whole thing. Before we get into that, though, we have 2 live things we're doing today. First, at 1:30 West Coast time, which is the same as 4:30 East Coast time, we're doing Amazon Live. I'm really excited because I am comparison shopping with some steamers. I bought a bunch of steamers, and I did like my own little consumer reports testing here yesterday with steamers, and I have a lot to report back on. And then we have Crappy Hour later tonight at 5:30 West Coast time, 8:30 East Coast time. And there's a lot to talk about with Crappy Hour as well. A lot of stuff, a lot of public apologies, shows being put on pause, all sorts of junk. So that's stuff that will be happening later today. So we look forward to that. Anywho,
yeah, and also our newsletter just came out, which is basically a blog of the week in Bravo. It's kind of a recap of all the shows, and this week was a recap of us at South by Southwest, and that's also our bonus episode this week. So we couldn't shut up about it. We blogged about it. We did an episode about it. So we had so much fun. So go check that out. That's free on Patreon. That's also where you get bonus videos and video recaps and ad-free listening. Actually. Okay, let's get into it. Married to Medicine, Season 12, Episode 15, Reunion Part 1.
So people are arriving at the New York City studios, and Heavenly announces, she's like, "No, my voice is hoarse from campaigning, but I'm gonna hang with the girls. I've got a hoarse voice and so much campaigning, doing a lot of campaigning." I'm like, sure.
I'm sure it is rough when you campaign like this. Your mama wants lower taxes. Bitch.
Dr. Heavenly Kimes, what's your stance on global warming and whether we should pivot towards green technologies?
Your mama should close her legs. That's what I think about global warming.
I'll tell you about a green technology. Your mom is a green technology. That's really all you have to say about that.
So Quad is, excited. Season 12, Married to Medicine reunion. Here we go. Simone is getting her makeup done, and the makeup artist is like, oh my gosh, this is the first time you and Jackie haven't shared a room in 5 years. It's like the 5-year itch. She's ready to fight with Jackie again.
Yeah, and she's like, well, I think as my friend of almost 30 years, if you can't stand up for me and speak the truth, then are we even friends? And then we see that something happened, which was that on Watch What Happens Live, Andy was asking Jackie about the whole situation with Heavenly, and did Simone push her? And Jackie basically was like, well, I wasn't there. And Andy was like, yeah, but you saw the footage. She's like, well, I don't really know how to use a TV, so I'm not sure really if I saw the footage or was it just a reflection of me on the screen.
I have a husband who still drives a PT Cruiser, and I don't understand technology. Thank you. Which was pretty weak of Jackie. I can understand Simone being pissed off at Jackie. That's some bullshit because she did not get physical. Now, as is kind of pointed out later, she didn't get physical, but it still got to the point after the arm toss or whatever you would call it, the arm removal, the hand removal from her arm. It did get into such a bad fight that they had to be physically separated, but they weren't. And the only reason I bring that, and I know that there's a huge difference in fighting and spouting off and getting physical. Obviously, legally, there's a difference. There's a difference. So I'm not saying there's not. It's just funny how Simone is like, I am a professional. And I'm like, yeah, but you still had to be peeled off somebody. So, but, I do get the physical is what makes it different. So, yeah, I would have been pissed at Jackie, too.
I would have been pissed, too. I don't know if I would have thrown out the friendship over it, but I would have been pissed. So, Simone is like, she's just like upset that Jackie was staying neutral. And then we see Jackie is getting ready and Quad's there. And she goes, well, I see that we've got you in a cumbersome situation. I'm like, cumbersome? Sure. I guess that's okay. It's like, is she doing manual labor right now? I'm not sure. So Jackie's like, I've been there before. And you survived. It's like being in surgery, and except you're on national TV and you're just dealing with your friend being cranky. But yeah, pretty much like surgery.
So we go to Heavenly and she's like, well, she says she's so hurt by Simone and Simone has unfollowed her. And then I saw the blog and she saw a blog where Simone said that you chose the devil. You know what I'm saying? I mean, come on, Simone's got to do the most. I'm not a devil. I'm heavenly. Heavenly Kimes.
Well, and then Andy goes checking on Jack and he's like, well, you're supposed to be in the room with your friend. She's like, I'm sad. And I don't like thinking that I hurt her. Well, you and I had the conversation on Watch What Happens Live, which was so funny. God. And she's a doctor. She has a reputation. She has a practice, which is why I pressed the issue on live TV. And I think it's about what you didn't say, right?
About her boobs.
Andy coming in as if he didn't stir up this whole mess.
Yeah, exactly. And I like that Andy's like, well, here's what I think. It's what you didn't say. Okay, now I'm going to go stir with her. So then he runs off to Simone's room. And he's like, Simone, this is deep. And I'm talking as someone who's a dad. I've got children.
Well, you saved me from a divorce once, and I don't know if you can help me again. I'm like, this is worse than what you were dealing with Cecil. I'm sorry. Yeah. I love Simone. I think she's great. I think she has every right to be pissed at Jackie. But like when you start acting like, this is the end of a friendship, I just think it's just too much. It's too much to do that.
But that's Simone, she gets upset and that's it. She's like a cut him off kind of a girl. But the thing is on these shows, Andy has made it a very big stance in the past few years that if you guys can't make up, then that's it. Like he did it with Jersey. He did it with, well, I don't know if that was New York's probably like straight up problematic behavior was New York's problem. But we've seen it happen on a lot of the shows where if you can't be friends, then you're out, or we're going to pause the show or whatever. So this is dangerous because now Simone is like half the core cast. It's two people that she doesn't want to talk to. That's not good. And then you're putting all of your hopes on Toya to be there for you. Toya will turn. Toya's a turner.
Yeah. So Andy's like, well, tonight we're calling in 911, and the ladies from Married to Medicine are reuniting. So then we get the trailer, and now everyone comes to the stage. And the stage, is it a stage or is it a landing? Because they've set up the stage to look like the staircase at the Met Gala, which is a tribute to the Met Gala. Except, of course, the Met Gala looks nothing like this because it continues in the storied history of Bravo shows that try to stage a fake Met Gala and look nothing at all like the Met Gala in New York City. And of course, I'm thinking of Salt Lake City when Mary Cosby had her Met Gala luncheon at Valters, and there was a little red carpet out on the dirty snow.
Yeah. This one has crosses everywhere, like medical crosses. It's like the pattern all over the walls. I just want to go ask for free Band-Aids. It looks like a red cross. It's weird. So there was
something so jarring about the fact that this was like made to look like a giant staircase. Like they were just on an enormous landing, but there were stairs above them and stairs below them.
Yeah.
And it felt like we were in transition. Like it didn't feel like we were like seated somewhere, if that made sense. I felt like everyone was on the way up or on the way down, which I guess is a visual
also
metaphor.
Being like really tiny people on the way up or down.
Yes.
It's like the Incredible Shrinking Woman, like going up or going down. No, let's just stop on this step and have a reunion.
It was all red. It just was sort of wacky, It reminded me of some of those Salt Lake City reunions where they made the set look like, the place that you stand in line at Disneyland to get you ready for Pirates of the Caribbean or something, It's like very Disneyfied.
Well, if one thing these ladies know how to deliver, it's high fashion and high blood pressure. Nailed it. Okay, good to see you, Dr. Jackie. You vaccinated for drama tonight? Whoa.
She's like, I am double dosed. It's like, oh, I'm sorry. Under the new administration, you've just lost your medical license. But it was a metaphor. No vaccines allowed whatsoever. I'm sorry.
Okay, Dr. Heavenly, will you be practicing diplomacy tonight? She's like, Mom, proceed. So
you also have lost your medical license. No diplomacy allowed in this one.
So he basically just goes around and says hi to everybody, and Toya gets first seat, which is, of course, it goes to her head right away. She tries to lead the entire reunion.
Yeah,
and she's like, the set looks breathtaking, Andy. I love that I was able to inspire the people.
Yes, Toya. Everyone said, you know what? We need a set that speaks of Toya Bush Harris. Let's get a bunch of staircases. If you were inspiring the people, it would be a U-Haul. Just the back of a rider truck.
So Jackie's like, well, Toya did have a good leader. And he's like, oh, wow. We're going to fight over that. Toya's like, oh, now so you want to claim the spot? You want to try to take my living art Met Gala?
So then Andy's like, okay. Simone, you brought me some earplugs tonight. It is right. It's the right one that I'm going to be popping in, right? Oh, that was kind of you. Hi, Dr. Mimi.
She's like, hi, this is Reunion Mimi. I'm ready to rumble. Reunion Mimi, strapped in and ready. And did Toya try to sell you a ticket to get on the reunion stage? That was good. Mimi's like, tickets, donations, whatever she wanted. So we say hi to Quad, and he asks her if blondes have more fun because she is a blonde today. And she's like, that's what the people say, Andy. I have fun every day in my life, though. Every day I demand fun. I'm Quad, non-cumbersome Quad.
That's right, you do. And hey, speaking of fun, it's America's funnest reality star, Dr. Cadessa. Any predictions for tonight? She goes, well, a stormy night ahead, but at least it's going to be a beautiful war because everybody looks amazing. Okay, that meant nothing. Okay, I was really surprised when I walked into Simone's room today and you and Jackie were not sharing, as I think you've done almost every single year. It's almost as if someone here had one of you on the stage and kind of destroyed your relationship, right?
I needed Jackie and she failed to deliver. I am an unborn baby still, Andy, and I just wanted to be in a room by myself.
I am a pizza that's lost in a Domino's truck. I am undelivered. So
I am an unkept promise, Andy. He's like, okay, well, we'll get into it a little later. Well, why'd you bring it up then?
I know. I am every parcel on FedEx ground. Sorry, had to get that in. Undelivered. So Andy's like, listen, I'm going to take a swipe at a FedEx ground whenever I get a chance. Unless they become a sponsor, in which case, what a great carrier. Yeah.
Rightly so. I just had to go pick one up at my neighbor's house.
Oh, God, those bitches. Not your neighbors.
Every time. I'm telling you. Every fucking time, FedEx.
Every single time. All right. Well, I'm really hoping we can get to a better place, which is what every package at FedEx Ground says. And I'm confident that we can. Okay, but first, let's tear each other down. This season, Toyota put down roots in a brand new home with a giant cherry blossom tree planted in her closet. But as Eugene branched out to a long-distance career, Toyota went out on a limb to run this year's Met Gala. Trees and leaves, everyone, and furthermore, sap and twigs. Tree puns.
Why do you keep calling her Toyota?
Toyota? I'm saying Toya, but my Andy impersonation adds the ta to it. Toyota. Because I'm affordable and reliable.
How dare you? She would be so pissed if you called her Toyota. She doesn't want to be. At least make her Alexis.
Toyota is actually an amazing nickname for her. Toyota. Toyota Camry. I don't think she's as reliable as that. Just maybe a Toyota. Just like a Toyota. I don't know. Toyotas are actually all reliable, right?
You're like, I cannot diss a Toyota. Not as easy as FedEx Ground, is it?
No, but Toyota is a diss to, because she thinks, I think the diss would be something along the lines of you think you're a Rolls, but you're really just a Toyota or something I don't know, but we'll have to workshop that,
So of course we ask if Toyota, if Toya is still in the same house. Oh, if Toya is still in the same house, and she's like, where else am I going to be? And he's like, well, you have had many homes. And she's like, paid for a ball. I purchased the ball, Andy. He's like, okay, well, I'm not questioning ownership. Okay, heavenly, is this Toya's forever home? And she's like, no. Then this is called forever a bitch. But no, she'll sell it in a few years and get a profit and probably move to a condo by herself somewhere. And they're like, what? And Quad's like, by herself? Did I say that? I'm so sorry.
Did I say that? I'm really sorry. Did I do that? I'm really sorry. I didn't mean that. I didn't mean that bitch will be living on her own. I feel like she's going to sell it and get a great profit and move into something higher in a tiny apartment somewhere where she'll just have to rot in hell alone because she's pushed Eugene away. Did I say that part too? Oh my God, I'm really sorry.
Well, Ingle from Wood, California said maybe if Toya treated Eugene with more respect, he wouldn't want to spend all that time on the road.
Okay, as a Toyota who lets go places, as in a new house, I just want to say, I think that some people are projecting like the people on that side of the couch. She doesn't have a clue what's going on in my room. We don't yell all the time, but it happens, and I think it happens in everyone's household. So, I'm Toya.
Well, you said, Simone, Toya's skip a day of work party was actually like every day for Toya. Do you stand by that? She's like, I stand by it. Toya has a great life. She keeps immaculate house and keeps it up well, Andy, and no one would be able to go there and say it needed pressure washing. And so we flash back to Mariah being like, pressure wash your house, bitch.
Which I forgot about.
Oh, the burn.
Listen, the pressure washer, baby. They've got the pressure washer out there. A cumbersome pressure washer.
All right. Well, 3M from Tape says, Toya, you said some women love watching you and Eugene argue while misrepresenting their own relationships. So what do you mean by that? She's, well, I just think that it's like very easy for certain ladies to deflect because like you haven't seen any cheating in my relationship and my husband's not telling me he doesn't trust me with my son. So let's stop with the shenanigans because I think everyone on the stage should honestly stay out of my relationship.
Stay out of it. You haven't seen cheating. You've just seen my husband finding jobs further and further away so he doesn't have to ever be home. So leave me alone, Ingle from Wood. And Heavenly's like, well, but if you wouldn't put it out there, we wouldn't have anything to say, Toya. She's like, well, unless you want Toya to start telling everybody secrets. She's like, oh, go ahead, please. Open the book for everyone. Open the book, Toya, because there's a book that hasn't been opened on Toya's relationship as well. And Toya's like, really? Well, let's talk about it then, because I had a whole next door neighbor that told me about your husband. She goes, oh, wait, really? Well, I had someone on the campaign trail tell me about your husband and what he does in the hospital and why he was fired. Excuse me, stop this reunion right now and tell me the gossip on both of these things. Eugene cheated and did something bad in a emergency room, and what else happened? I need to know everything, please.
I do need to know. I need to know because Eugene has been sort of doing. I don't know. Well, I don't know if he was fired or not. That's just Heavenly saying shit, and she does make up stuff. But he has been sort of like on. I don't know. Like when we first met him, he was in an emergency room, and then all of a sudden it's like no matter blue, and he's just sort of going around place to place. So what is going on with that? So Toya's like, I beg to differ. She goes, well, let's do that. Let's put it on the table. Ladies, if you're going to stay out of everyone's relationship, make sure that flows all the way through Blibbity Bob. So Toya's like, yeah, that part.
River runs through it. R.I.P. Robert Newman Redford.
Let the river run, the river wild, Meryl Streep, White River rafting.
That part. Why do people fly when they fish? I don't even understand that movie. That movie was stupid. Now, Toya, I do have to say, you have spoken on people's marriages. You spoke on my husband, and she's like, well, I only spoke, Jackie, after, anything I've spoken about your marriage has been after you brought it to the table and we had a conversation about it, even though this time I had a plot line about your husband making me sit on his lap. But whatever. Like,
there's no way
Jackie to the table.
Jackie is not going back to that can of worms. Okay, she is wanting all of us to forget it, and it was Toya who just brought it up again on Watch What Happens Live, and they showed all that. Like Jackie did not open that one up, Toya.
Yeah. So then we see the clip of that where Toya is saying that Curtis has put his hands on multiple of the ladies' waists. And Jackie says, well, I've never spoken about Eugene and your disrespect to your husband. I mean, Jackie came out kind of swinging in this one. I was surprised because Jackie usually tries to not fight, Mm-hmm. And so she's like, well, I've never spoken about Eugene and your disrespect to your husband. And she goes, oh, okay. Wow. Okay. She goes, and Toya goes, oh, wow. At that age, look at that age. And she goes, well, it looks good on some of us. And she goes, in menopause. Toya, you understand you're like a block away from menopause, right? Like, come on.
Yeah, that's going to be the next place she moves to. So Cadessa's like, I'm in menopause. And Quack goes, Toya, don't shame of the age. Don't age shame. Don't do it. It's a cumbersome time for all of us.
And she's like, I'm about to be 50. I can talk about it all I want, okay? Jackie, no one is coming to you about Curtis like I could be.
Jackie's like, okay. And nobody's coming to you.
Yeah, but Curtis sat my husband down and had a whole conversation.
She goes, as he should have.
No, he should not. Curtis is the last one that should be talking to anybody's man.
I'm like, Toya, what are you talking about? Well, I mean, I don't think Curtis is anything great, but I feel like Toya is not making a great point here.
No, and don't throw age jokes when you live in a Metamucil house, Toya. And also, yeah, Curtis should not be talking to anybody's husband, but your husband is not the, elected leader of this group either. And I'm a little sick of Eugene walking around, fucking lecturing everybody all the time like he's the man of the house. He's not the man of this house, and he needs to sit his ass down and stop getting in women's business, is what I say as a man sitting here spending 2 hours in women's business.
professionally every day. I have to say that, like, I've always really adored Eugene. I think he's so adorable. I think he's cute and everything. And, you know, he's a doctor. It's great. And their kids are so wonderful. But I have been this season reflecting on the fact that whenever there is an issue amongst the menses, it's always kind of Eugene in the middle of it. And I'm like, you know, you got to, at a certain point, you got to say, wait a second, Eugene. And then I'm excited to talk about the Steve Sanders stuff that happens later in this episode because, you know, I have opinions on that.
Well, that's good. That's required. But yeah,
I have no opinions.
Eugene and Toya both kind of elect themselves as the leaders. Like they think they're like the head of the show, and it's annoying. So Andy asked Toya when she watched the footage from her party, her reaming Eugene out, what was her reaction? She's like, oh, it was horrible. I reacted poorly, and I was just so upset. And they didn't even show. Like, I locked myself in the closet, and I was spiraling. I don't want to spiral, especially not in front of people that don't love my family. And for people to keep attacking our relationship or attacking me, I just need somebody to say with love, hey, Toya, you went a little far, boo. They did. They all said that. And you were screaming at your husband like a crazy person at that party. You were acting nuts at that party. So for you to come on and lecture anybody about their husband or their marriage is crazy, Toya. It's crazy, Toya.
It is crazy. Also, when you say you locked yourself in your closet, first of all, that doesn't have the same impact of when a normal person locks themselves in their closet. Cause like for any of us to lock ourselves in our closet, you're just like, oh, I went into this tiny confined space surrounded by clothing. For you, you went into a giant room with a cherry tree inside. You just went into another luxurious space. And when you said you spiral, you probably just walked around the tree 10 times. Like, I'm spiraling. So,
although she did lock herself in there probably with Anila. Because remember, she was in the closet with Anila, which would make it more terrifying, I think.
Mainly if Anila's mom was there too. So Quad is like, well, we did speak to you. It's like,
You did, Quad. I didn't say that. When you came to my closet, you spoke to me.
Contessa goes, and I'll say this, Andy. I think we need to take a little bit of responsibility as well, because when that happened, a true group of friends would have said, okay, party's over. Let's just go. No, you guys are all having fun. And Toya was having a freak out. And this is what Toya does. She was having a tantrum. And what real friends do is say, well, fuck her. Give me a margarita.
Yeah, I'm not leaving the open bar and the food that's being passed by strippers. I'm staying at this party. Toya can stay in her closet all she wants to. And so Mimi agrees with us. She's like, no. My question is, like, let's have a conversation, Toya, because at that point, I did not do anything. I didn't do anything to you. She goes, you literally said, you and your husband, oh my God, I would never. Yeah, because they would never. You were acting cray-cray.
And Andy was like,
but you said their marriage was cringe. It was giving cringe. Exactly.
Mimi's like, no, I said it was hard to watch and it was cringy. And Toya says,
but you could have kept it to yourself.
She goes, well, I encourage marriage.
She goes, but instead you were sitting there gossiping and then you stayed to watch more cringe.
By the way, as if Toya doesn't do this all the time. Toya, who literally her other big storyline is that she weighed in on Angel's relationship with Bernard, as if we even care. And now she's upset that while you're having a full-on fight with your husband at a party, a big public party that's making it awkward for everyone, that Mimi says that it's cringe, and now you're upset at that when you have no problem whatsoever commenting on everyone else, whether it's Bernard, whether it's Curtis, whether it's like the guy who works at the UPS store, like whoever it is, you're commenting all the time. So you know what? This is just what happens. Metamucil House, back in it.
Metamucil House. I love Mimi just saying,
stones.
I encourage marriage. That's so funny to me. So she's like, but instead you just stayed so you could watch more cringe. If it was so cringe, why'd you stay? And she goes, actually, I was the first one to leave, Toya. She's like, because you were the first one that was asked to leave. That's why. And she goes, no, it's because you sat there and called us hating ass bitches. And Heavenly's like, Jesus, I would never use language like that. And Mimi's like, that is the true definition of projection. Well, Mimi, I can see right now, honey, you're misled.
Projection, deflection, you don't own shit, and that's your defense mechanism. All right, you rhymed. We have to move on. Okay, things got a little too honest and raw over the group chat when Heavenly decided to talk to you about Eugene's penis size again.
We see the text again. Girl, I'm between patients, but I had to say this. My man loves me too, but his dick big, so you're loving on some little shit. Let's go.
Well, it had nothing to do with the penis size. It had everything to do with her taking shots just like she did right now.
And Toya's like,
It wasn't a shot, it was about a purse. And when you went to my husband's penis like you wanted to suck it, I'm just trying to figure it out.
and he goes, oh boy.
It was a
Toya's
shot. You were saying that she has fake purses because she's poor, Toya. That was a shot. And so Toya's like, you need to worry about your husband's penis because there's nothing bulging through your husband's pants. And he's like, okay. And Heavenly just goes, my man is from Barbados, bitch.
Dr. Jackie, you gave Toya the lead in throwing this year's Met Gala. I guess we're just going to move on from the penis stuff, which is shocking from me. Heavenly
And he
said
only
it
likes to
was-
talk about boobs. Like when it
Yeah.
comes to all the penis talk, he's like,
Oh, God, we're talking about that. Okay, let's talk about Contessa's boobs.
Well, to be fair, I think he would be down for the penis talk if it weren't like trying to imagine daddy's penis. It's like,
Oh, I don't really want to think about Damon's penis.
so like, let's be honest. So
I love all the talk, like every time they accuse Daddy of cheating. I just think Daddy is exhausted. Like that man, I can tell you right now, that man does not have the energy to cheat. Okay.
No, he doesn't.
So, you gave Toya the lead in the Met Gala. Heavenly said it was to teach her a lesson. Which lesson were you trying to teach Toya, and is she capable of learning lessons?
Well, when it comes to parties, that's the girl. And we thought that Toya would definitely throw a good one because as we all saw her Saint-Tropez party when she yelled at her husband and made it awkward for everyone and we all left early was nothing but a success. So why not give her a larger platform?
Toya's great at lessons. Watch this. Toya, if a train is going northward at 50 miles an hour and another train is going southwards at 50 miles an hour, how fast are they going when they pass each other? Trains are stupid. I fly all the time. I'm not going to take a fucking train. See, Andy?
So Andy is like,
Well, so Toya proving herself.
and they actually all are very complimentary, even Heavenly. She's like, yes, it was amazing.
So Andy goes, does that mean something to you that you're hearing this from the group? It means a ton. It did. But it doesn't erase the fact
And Heavenly goes,
here we go.
that there was so much that I went through to get this on.
You went through? Oh my God, Toya. She's like, when you asked about the group chat, I decided this beautiful, beautiful lab coat that y'all gave me. You see, this group, I put the group chat on it. Okay, so here's a laser pointer for you, Andy.
and Toya pulls out this lab coat with like screenshots of the group chat, which is cool in theory. And I don't even know how she did that. But what it meant was that she couldn't really hold it up and like you couldn't really see the group chat. So it was just sort of like this floppy thing. And everyone was just sort of like,
Whoa, that's pretty cool that you made this. It's totally not functional for the reunion, but like cool prop.
Jackie's like, wow, I love that lab coat. I now have group text lab coats by Jackie. Come on, wait a minute. Jackie's just going to steal everybody's business.
she's very creative. Not very bright, but creative. It's like when you see a child just splatter paint on a canvas and their parents say it's art and the rest of us just know it's just goop. That's Toya.
So, no one's really into this because I can't read it. So let's switch gears. Miss Quad found a handsome king. So she put all her energy into IVS. But will they stop making room for each other? Let's watch. So it's a lot of King, like low-key being an asshole. And then Andy asks if it's true that they're no longer together. And it's true. They are no longer together. And as Quad says, life happens, Andy.
Which is also the name of her new sitcom, Life Happens, on Freeform, starting this fall with Quad.
She thought he was the one. Was the breakup mutual or not? And she's like, it was mutual. We weren't doing very well towards the end of last year. We tried, but we couldn't get together on some of the fundamentals, Andy.
Yeah. And she says, and he's like,
Well, has anyone here been in touch with King? This is a trick question because I know 3 people over here have been. Does anyone?
and so they're basically the couch opposite Quad has all been into Toya, Contessa, etc. They all have been in touch with King. And Contessa's like, well, you didn't want him to be here. She goes, I didn't say that, Contessa. No, I'm asking. We're asking, which is why I said it like a statement, right?
This is why I made a complete sentence. And Quad's like, well, so you're talking to my ex? And Toya's like, well, he looked out for Ashton for his birthday, which was amazing. And we see that he gave him a luxury car to drive around on his birthday. So, of course, that's all it took for Toya. So Toya's like, love him now. Toya would have a fucking fit if she broke up with Eugene and people still talk to that man.
Oh,
she's crazy, so acting mad. Like, what? Of course, we love King.
It was a beautiful thing. And everyone in Atlanta was so appreciative when the 16-year-old kid, the kid who just turned 16, was driving in 3 different lanes in a Ferrari that was too hard for a person with experience to drive. But yeah, he had a great time, you know.
Well, it was beautiful, you know, and y'all went from being so lovey-dovey and like, you know, then it was cringy to watch. Oh, okay. So now it's okay.
Cringy.
So now that's okay.
You literally like just said the word.
Toria's the biggest fucking hypocrite on this show, and I love it. She makes me laugh so hard. I just started laughing when she called it cringy, and no one said anything, and it didn't even register with her.
I know. Well, the relationship was good, and it was good, and then it wasn't. And it was not so good. It was over. I know nothing stays the same. But if you're willing to play the game, it's coming around again cumbersomely.
So someone said that now that Quad and King are no longer a thing, Heavenly decides to speak on it and spin the narrative that King was faking the relationship for fame. But Quad needed a storyline too. And Heavenly's like, I've never done that. I've never said that. And Quad's like, let me speak. Now, Heavenly, a storyline. I never come up with my storylines. I'm not doing that on off seasons trying to figure out what's next. I don't want that type of anxiety on me. What I do is I go with what is currently happening in my life.
Yes, and what is happening in my life is that I was in a relationship with King. King, a man who's so vain. He probably thinks this song is about him, don't you? Don't you? Don't you?
Fame. I want to live forever. No. I want to learn how to fly. Fish? You want to learn how to fly, Fish? Because that movie's stupid. Hated that movie.
Okay, well, listen, anybody faking IVF for TV is crazy because that's hard.
And she's like, yeah, why would I go through all these IVF shots in Ghana where no one was allowed to film me? Just kidding.
Yeah, seriously. She's
like, seriously, why would you put yourself through that for TV?
You know, Toya's still probably trying to think about the answer to that question right now as we speak. Like,
why would someone do that? It's a good question.
So Heavenly's like, the longest Jeopardy theme song of all time in like 16 days. Of Final
wow,
Jeopardy
we've never heard that song get to the bridge. Toya, well done.
We didn't know there was a bridge. We thought it was a complete song, a 30-second song.
So Heavenly says everything happened how it was supposed to. And then Andy asked Dr. Jackie if fertility struggles put strains on relations. Yes, Andy. Yes. We saw it in Jackie's own relationship. So then Simone's like,
I have a question, and you're more than welcome to say none of my damn business, but if you and King could not decide on whose house to live in, or when you were going to get engaged or get married, why did y'all move forward with IVS?
And she's like, he's a great co-parent. Even now he doesn't live in the same household with his daughter and her mom, and he's an amazing co-parent. She wanted the kid, not the man.
Exactly. He was in it to sneak bites of her fish. Literally, it wasn't trying to be raunchy. I mean, like, literally taking bites from her takeout.
Yeah.
And she was in it for a baby. And at a certain point, like, it just didn't work out anymore.
Yeah.
Well, so you were thinking more along the lines that even if this doesn't work out, I have an amazing sperm donor.
I'm surprised that Simone is asking this question as someone who probably has encountered this many times with her patients. Why is she sort of stumped by this? And Contessa says, well, it did seem to me as an outsider who threw an amazing birthday party for herself that maybe he lost interest, unlike the attendees at my birthday party, and he was just in it for you, like to support you, but not so much because you want a father that wants a kid. And like, that's what it seems like. And he wasn't as interested in that journey as you were. So did I get that right? Are you going to yell at me?
Yeah, and Andy says, you didn't seem to be on the same page. And she's like, well, I can only go on what we both agreed upon, which was we both decided without a gun to his head, or without me pushing him off a bridge, without me having a car saying I'm going to run you over, without chaining him to a radiator and beating him with a wooden spoon, without threatening to put a banana peel on the ground for him to fall down on, Andy.
Without telling him to run off that cliff, and he runs, and then all of a sudden he realizes there's no more cliff below him, and he looks at the camera and falls down into the Grand Canyon without even that happening.
Saying beep, beep the entire way. Without any of that, Andy.
Without even doing those things. We decided to go on this journey together, beep, and I never wanted to neglect anything that had anything to do with him, and I've always put my best foot forward in a very, very fast way that I'm uncatchable, and I've devoted myself to that.
So when I heard he wasn't on the same page, I said, damn, where am I missing the mark?
Were you upset?
Well, I said, where am I missing the mark?
Does that mean you're upset?
I missed Mark. I miss Mark. I knew a boy named Mark. I miss him. I miss Mark.
If you're talking about Mark Consuelos, I've got dibs on him first, so stay back, bitch.
Well,
so what's next for you? Are you going to try having a family solo?
And she's like, I take it one day at a time, Andy. Having a baby is a lot like alcoholism, Andy. Baby steps.
I decided to take inspiration from the late Bonnie Franklin. We're going one day at a time, one day at a time, one day at a time. Na.
Women have beautiful children without men all the time, so stay tuned, says someone who doesn't want to have storylines. Just to happen.
I'll find my Schneider someday.
So now, guys, are we needing some energy? Let's bring Angel and Brandy to the stage.
Dun, dun, dun,
Angel
dun.
not so much, but Brandy did a great job. I think Brandy's really warmed up into being a good. I mean, Angel's not bad either, but
Yeah,
Brandy I think was particularly good.
I have to say, I've really enjoyed Brandy all season long. I thought she was really funny, and she does like lots of like funny facial expressions too. And she seems like she's just like. She's kind of giving like woman of the people vibes, Greek chorus, where she's kind of like, what is going on with these crazy people that I'm on this show with? And so I've really enjoyed that from her. And Angel's fine.
She's giving girl at lunch with aunties. And she's just trying to explain to them, like, you cannot say that. You cannot say that right here in a Luby's and expect to get away with it because I'm going to call you out on it, auntie. You cannot talk like that, And it's so funny.
Her eyes. She does this thing. She bulges her eyes. And she's also so amused when she gets into it with Contessa in a few moments. I love that she doesn't get caught up in it the entire time. She's almost like laughing. Like, yeah. Bitch. No, you failed.
But calls him out.
Yeah. It's great energy to have. I hope she can stick with it.
So Selena, no, not that one, still R.I.P. from Laredo says, we want to know how an RN suddenly becomes a movie star, Brandy. Angel, sorry. And Angel's like, well, I started in the music industry young, blah, blah, blah. But I do have multiple degrees. Thank you very much. Okay, well, Heavenly, you seem surprised by Angel's dance moves. Were you insinuating that there was something nefarious about her background?
And she's like, no. I just think she has a beautiful body, and I think she can use it in a lot of different ways. She could be a doctor. She could be a slut like she is on TV. And that's all I'm saying, Annie. I don't know what you're taking from that.
Wicked Gyal, aka Cynthia Arrivo on Twitter said, Contessa crashing out on Brandy because she had a plan to plan 2 birthday events for herself, and meanwhile Brandy's man set up a birthday dinner for her hassle-free. Brandy, is Contessa invited to your next birthday party? And Brandy goes, well, as of right now, she's invited because her and I have had a couple of words. Once I watched some of the stuff that she said that I couldn't hear at my party. Me and her had to have a little talk because she knows I don't play about my husband. Oh, and why were you
want to impress Contessa. And Contessa's like, well, I mean, nobody plays about their husband. She's like, or talking about the fact that I had a party. I didn't have a party. I had a dinner. It wasn't a party. Which I actually appreciated that clarification, even though she did just say it was a party a second ago, because it was just a dinner as opposed to a party. So Contessa really needed to relax about all that.
I guess, but this is a bone of contention now because Contessa's like, you did. And Heavenly goes, it was a party. And Contessa's like, I didn't say anything. You did say something. That was wild of Contessa that night, where Contessa got all upset, like
it was
jealous.
Wild. Yeah.
About a dinner and like started dissing the husband for giving her a lame dinner. Yikes.
Yeah, and like the husband just calls in to check in, and so then Brandy puts him up in front of everyone and was like, thank you for the dinner. Like I just thought it was like so normal and fine, and it was not extra at all. And Contessa just like lost her mind. And she's like, so what happened was a big misunderstanding, and I can tell you that I came in with good intentions. I have no idea why it turned into a conversation even about my husband's party, and that started before I got there. And Brandy's like, who was talking about you though? Because I wasn't. She's like, well, it was you and Heavenly. And she goes, and Heavenly's like, well, we did have a conversation. And then we see like the clip. It's Heavenly was talking to Brandy about it. Like Heavenly instigated this.
Yes, exactly. And she's like, because you kept bringing up the party. And Brandy's like, we said something bad. What did we say? And Heavenly's like, we did. It was Heavenly. And Toya's
Heavenly.
like, yeah, it wasn't you. It was Heavenly. Toya doesn't ever know what she's talking about. Shut up, Toya. And Contessa's like, roll the tape. So then we see, and it's just Heavenly making the comments. And so Brandy's like, okay, so what bothered you? And she's like, well, look, I apologize. And she goes, well, you came pretty hard. And she's like, okay, well, just let me know when you're finished. And then I'll talk.
Okay. I came soft, and that's what I'm trying to say. She goes, soft under your breath. Next time, come loud. Then I can hear you, and then I can address it in the moment. She goes, you don't think I was loud at the party? She goes, no, because it wasn't a microphone under your breath. So next time, say it loud, and then we can address it in the moment.
And she's like, well, I was just flabbergasted. I mean, we're celebrating Brandy, but somehow or another, I got to call your husband and FaceTime him and tell him thank you for some chicken wings. Like, I mean, I just didn't get that. And she goes, oh, girl, bye. Let's get back to this. Let's be clear. At your party, we spent about an hour with you complaining about your husband to me. And she's like, I never complained. And she goes, you said, Brandy, I've never had a party in my whole life. I've turned almost 50 and I haven't had a party still. And she's like, yeah, I don't remember saying that. Yes, you did. Of course, you were saying that because, you know, people were egging you on too and being like, did Scott do anything for this?
So Contessa's like, well, I've had several dinners, and your definition of a party is what you had. That's what you had. She goes, no, my definition of a party, I've had multiple parties, and what I had was a dinner. And Contessa's like, well, why are we competing about parties? I'm not trying to compete. She goes, girl, bye.
Yeah, because you are the one trying to compete. So Brandy just rolls her eyes like, okay, Auntie, okay.
I apologize if I came to your party in your mind with anything but love and celebration of who you are, because that day to me should have been about Brandy and her inability to throw a good party, because it was the day that God decided that this world needed a bad party planner on this earth, okay? And our world would be incomplete unless we had a chicken wing throwing dinner party person.
So they're like, okay, well, let's just celebrate each other then. Okay, well, Donkey from Kong kills Mario every single time because he's a badass. Says, how does Angel in RN not know how much lidocaine? Sorry,
well, I guess I see where you stand, Ronnie, on the Nintendo Wars.
Yes, I've been playing. I was playing the
new
Mario Kart against my niece all weekend, and I kept winning because I play as Donkey Kong on a Vespa. So, thank you.
Well, I'd like to see you go up against Rosalina, the Diane Sawyer of the Mario Kart universe.
How does Angel and RN not know how much lidocaine will make your throat go numb?
And Angel's like, I didn't read the bottle, and I've done a lot of music videos.
So you're saying that you're a nurse who doesn't read the directions on medicine. Great. Love to have that. Simone, do you have something to say about medical licenses?
Oh, so Toya's like, oh my gosh, she was just in the moment. And she says, yeah, I didn't read it, you know, but it had everything numb. Oh my God, I couldn't even breathe. So they laugh about that. And they laugh about how she's trying to get rid of her gag reflex for for blowing people. And this is kind of a long time. It's kind of all she really gets to do in this. I felt bad for her because it's like, welcome, Angel. Talk about your gag reflex. Okay, thanks. We'll never talk to you again.
It was kind of like shitty. And this is what we always joke about. Like the moment that someone says like some kind of like slightly raunchy or sexy tale, like that's the thing that they decide to focus on with the reunions. And honestly, I just don't think we as the audience care that much, right? That's not me being a prude, but it's like, it's funny in that moment, but it's not something that needs to be dwelled upon. It's kind of like, you know, the best jokes don't need to be explained. And it's kind of like we're sitting and explaining the joke in this moment. And it's not like I care so much about her scrub business, but like, why don't you ask her questions about her scrubs? Like, why are we dwelling on the
I hope
lidocaine?
that's a thing. They better ask her, how do you feel about Jackie ripping off your business? Because that was crazy. Yeah. So they do ask about Bernard then, though. I mean, so Toya, wait, do they ask? Do they talk about Bernard? I feel like they did.
Quad is like, actually Quad has asked the question. He goes, Toya, can I ask a question? Why did you ask Bernard Leonard how was Angel in the bedroom?
And Toya goes, well, that was actually a longer conversation than was shown because I asked him a ton of questions.
And Quad goes, but it's because I said, ooh, is she cat watching? And Toya's like,
no, I learned what he did for a living. I knew.
And Quad's like, but I thought you were cat watching. And Toya's like,
no, I asked him why they were dating, why they weren't dating anymore. So that's just like the one that was spicy enough to be shown.
So basically Toya's saying that's why I asked, because it was like we were having a longer conversation and I just was, you know, I was sort of pushing it a little bit. But also like I would have liked some questions about like, isn't this totally like, wasn't Toya totally overstepping with all this just in general? While Toya was like, oh my God, I'm never going to set her up with a family. Like, isn't it a violation of girl code? There were like a lot of questions to be had with this, but instead we had the lidocaine and the blowjobs.
Yeah. And Toya's like, oh, it's just a joke. You know, I'm a little intrusive. Okay. And so Angel's like, well, what? You want a little taste of my kitty cat? Is that why you want to talk about it? And she's like, I don't want to taste you. That's another lie that Heavenly spits out that I eat coochie. And Heavenly's like, you were the one who said you liked women. You said you liked women. I didn't say that. So, I wish we kind of got into this Bernard stuff because this is all stupid. So now we go to Dr. Mimi. Okay. She was voted most likely to treat her friends like patients. But when it came to struggles at home, Mimi voted herself most likely to need more affirmations from her husband. Then we get Mimi's story.
By the way, I love that this show, they're like angry that a licensed and an accomplished psychiatrist would treat their friends like patients, but then they all go every year to the Caribbean to do fake therapy with doctors who are not licensed to do this and treat them like patients that they're not trained to do.
But they're like, well, it's like, no, I only want to be treated like a therapist patient by someone who has no idea what they're doing.
I was like, what's wrong? Like, I get it. Like, of course I get it. Like, if you're friends with a therapist, you don't want to be like, you just want a friend in that moment. You don't want a therapist. But personally, I'm like, hey, you just got some free therapy. That's expensive.
And that's also just not true. I mean, even if they say that, if you have a friend who's a therapist, people who are therapists have friends all the time come up to them like, oh my God, could you give me some advice? It's just like if you have a friend who's a doctor or a dentist and they're like, could you look at my molar? You know?
Yeah. But also, like, if you guys are having a stupid fight and you're clearly not communicating well, and there's someone who can give you the tools to help you communicate better, and like, that way the like you can have a productive conversation. Like, why is that necessarily a bad thing? Maybe for reality TV, it's not such a good thing, but I just am like, I understand why Mimi is like, it's hard for me not to jump in and to try to help because that's what all the doctors would do. They would all jump in to help. I mean, look at Dr. Jackie being so kind as to potentially diagnose Brandy with a thyroid issue in her neck.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say.
I'm surprised they didn't bring up.
I thought you were going to say you loved that they go from talking about deep throating dicks to like, let's talk about your child with autism.
I know. And then there's that pivot too. Let's not forget.
But you're right about the Jackie being shady to Brandy at first and being like, do you have an enlarged thyroid? Like, hello. We're not going to discuss this. So Mimi talks about being a mother of a child with autism and how difficult it is And I thought that was a good story to bring to TV, and I thought they handled it really well. And then they're still talking about like therapizing your friends and stuff. And then we move on to Toya and Mimi butting heads. And Toya's like, yeah, for no reason. I don't even understand it. And Heavenly's like, Toya never owns anything, including your houses.
Yeah. Because the whole thing was that at Heavenly's campaign event, Mimi had told Brandy, be careful about aligning yourself with Toya because she's stupid. Basically, because she's stupid. This is not someone you should align yourself with.
So Mimi's like, well, Toya, at your home, I never meant to disrespect your marriage. And when you turned away and said, hey, what else should I do? How should I talk to Eugene? I said, lean into softness and assertiveness. And she goes, I didn't ask you anything. And she goes, yes, you did. Run the tape, as they say. And so I never wanted to disrespect your marriage. Okay, that's not what I do. I encourage marriage. I encourage it. When I walk into a park and I see a couple just roller skating past each other, I say, you should get married. I encourage marriage.
I can't even walk into a restaurant without putting 2 ketchup bottles together. I just need to marry these ketchups. I can't have 2 half bottles. I encourage the marriage wherever I see it. So Toya's like, well,
I call it Marriage Poppins. Great movie. I encourage it.
Marriage Poppins. I can take accountability. She's like, okay, but she's talking. She's like, yes, thank you, Andy. Let her talk.
Yeah, thank you, finally, let her talk.
So Mimi's like, I'm just saying that me and Toya never started. We never had a good foundation. There was never a conversation to say, okay, this is who I am. I still don't know who Toya is. I don't know where she lives. She's had a lot of houses. And I'm not saying that I don't want to know. It's just that we don't have a foundation in order to cultivate a relationship except for a very, very cringy moment.
Oh, she's so cringy, oh God. See, look, she's so cringy.
Yeah, but you know what? The one thing she said was true is that she still doesn't know who I am. But she just sat here. Wait, no, I don't. You're a liar. And she's like, when we tell her who she should align herself with, that's the crazy part. And she goes, no, but it's the behavior. And she goes, oh, well, I'm sorry. I was talking. I let you speak. Now can I speak? She's like, no, you did not. You talk over. Andy has said it over and over. You have talked over multiple times, Toya. Okay, are you done now?
Done?
I am not done. Okay, well, you were done, but I'm not done now. Okay, well, now you want to chime in, but you just said you were done. I did not say I was. You did. You just interrupted me, denying that I was being cut off, Toya. So you're done now, right? No.
He's talking. He's still talking.
It's so funny. It's
so
funny.
Mimi's like, Brandy, I apologize for my delivery that day. And Brandy's like, and I appreciate that because it was the delivery that triggered me. And she goes, yes. And so I was like, well, it's not for you to apologize. And she goes, well, we've already had a conversation. So who's talking over now? Okay. It's great. All right. That was wonderful. Okay. Potato Peeler on Twitter said, I really respect Dr. Mimi for showing the hard parts of raising a child that's neurodivergent. So now we get more into this and, and Mimi's talking about how you just never get a break. And my heart really kind of broke for her because I do feel like that is a difficult part of her journey that she's on is that it's like, you sort of, I think with a lot of parents, they have the feeling of, I imagine a lot of parents, they never truly get a break anyway, but there's a sense that as the kids get older, they can be more independent and self-sufficient. And so knowing that this is going to be something she's going to deal with the rest of her life that's a tough one for her. And we've seen that it's like specifically a very unique challenge that they have to deal with little Stevie. So I've found that every time that she and Steve Sr. have talked about this, I found it to be like really fascinating and really interesting. And so it continued with this moment here.
Yeah, so they're telling her, "Oh my gosh, you're doing such a great job," and they, compliment her on, her story, basically how she handled it on the show. And Andy says, some of you felt Mimi was guarded, and then in Jamaica she opened up, and I'm curious what went through your mind. And Toya gives her credit. She's like, I think Mimi is a strong woman and a strong mother. And, God, she's right when she says God would not put anything on your plate that you can't bear. And I loved your story. You're a great mom. You're still a bitch, though.
God will never give you anything that you can't handle. Which makes me question, how big is Steve's dick? Oh, God, we're back. Yes, finally a dick that I want to imagine. Steve Sanders.
So they agree that there's a path forward for Mimi and Toya. And everyone's like, oh my God, this is so beautiful. Okay, so now the men are coming to the reunion and we see them arriving backstage and they're joking with Steve like, uh-oh, Steve, you nervous? Uh-oh.
Wearing LV. Steve with his LV.
And Damon's like, you know what? Daddy doesn't want to see you guys argue, but I understand the anger. And Steve's like, well, there is some level of accountability we all need to take today.
And Cecil's like, well, if Steve got to the event and didn't know he needed a ticket, and Steve is like, they never said it to me once. And Cecil's like, and I will say this, as someone with a basement bar, I'm not saying what's right or wrong, but I will say this, we have to do better at communicating what's going on, says Cecil, who sat there silently while Simone, had to deal with her spoiled children. So Steve is like, it's like, well, there wasn't a lot of inclusion. Eugene's like, well, if you're trying to include people and they're pushing back, then you just move on and you make a good event. Like, well, if you're trying to include people, then you don't charge them tickets on top of the table, which means that they had a ticket purchased ahead of time, because we had a whole thing last week where we were actually on Eugene's side until we discovered that the norm is that if someone buys you a table and invites you to sit at a table that they bought, you don't have to buy a ticket. So Eugene was 100% in the wrong in this situation.
And Steve is like, well, you tried to exclude us when it comes to tickets, but it was never said that we needed to buy a ticket. Okay. And Eugene's like, well, if you didn't like the way it was ran, and you were so, why were you even there? Why did you even come? Because it's a charity and it's a season finale party, Eugene.
Yeah.
You don't get to gatekeep that.
Yeah, exactly. He is saying that he didn't want to throw in $2,500 to put on the event because he clearly didn't think it was being managed properly, or felt that it was rude to say, okay, you are obligated to throw in an equal share of money, even though Mimi was not given any say whatsoever in how the thing is organized. But that's different than going and saying, I'm gonna donate to the event. It's like two different concepts there.
Right. So he's like, well, I wasn't there to support you. I was there to support the cause. And he's like, then buy a ticket. And he goes, but I did buy a ticket. And he goes, okay, well, then why are we having this argument, Steve? Because you're justifying bad behavior. And Steve's like, well, you justify bad behavior every single day with Toya. And Eugene goes, bye. Eugene's housewifery is like.
Yeah, I feel like, it's not a classy thing to I don't think what Steve said was very classy. I also don't think it was wrong, but it was not classy. Probably not something you should say, but I also can't ignore the fact that I was sort of like, he's kind of right about that.
Yeah, he was right, and you're right. Normally they don't do that's like a rule, right? You don't say something about the other person's wife, but Eugene has spent the whole season coming at Daddy for stuff that Heavenly said. So I don't know. I'm going to allow it on this one.
I'm going to allow it too. I was like, ooh, I feel like I shouldn't allow it, but I'm going to allow it. Yeah. I'm going to allow it.
And he goes, don't fucking say that about my wife. And Steve says, when the fuck did I stutter? And he goes, you mentioned my wife. And he goes, oh, so you want to cuss? You're going to have that energy. Then keep it.
And I
keep cursing.
And I kind of felt like, there was part of me that, again, I kind of wanted to have Eugene's side, because what I saw was like a regression to high school where the jock is like bullying the nerd, because Eugene is basically a big old nerd. He's a brainiac. He loves his comic books. He loves his video games. He's just like an adorable nerd. And Steve is an NFL player. And I was like, don't beat up on our sweet Eugene. He's a nerd. He got made fun of. But then I was like, but you know what though? Steve's, I think, kind of right in this one. So
Eugene started it.
Yeah.
So Steve's like, do you want to be one of the women? Do you want to be one of the women? Because you're acting like one. And I don't care how your head or how you move your head or smack your lips. It does not change the fact that you were trying to ambush me at an event after we had a conversation.
Yeah. No, I do always hate when guys use you're acting like a woman. That's like the ultimate insult, is to act like a woman. I'm like, you should be so lucky. You should be so lucky to act like a woman.
Yeah, but on the Housewives shows, that is a common thing where it's like, you're not a housewife.
Yeah, I think that there's actually so much loaded misogyny in that. I really hate when guys say that, that's the ultimate insult. You're acting like a woman. But so I did not like that. But again, I'm on Steve's side. So Eugene's like, well, if you feel ambushed, I'm sorry. You should pay for a ticket. And Curtis is like, Steve, that dude isn't going to mean anything, okay? It's not going to mean
I mean, look, I'm still on the fence about this because we talked already about how charities work. If someone buys the table, then that's it. You don't have to buy a ticket. But has Jackie confirmed that she did in fact buy a table of this many tickets and this is who she wants? Or are they thinking that that's included in the $2,500 or like, what is it? I'm still unclear. And I think that even if you go to a charity event, you didn't give the $2,500 and they're like, well, you still need a ticket. You should just say, okay, well, I thought it was the table, but whatever. Here's the ticket money. It's $300 for 2 tickets.
I think
I still think that Steve should have just bought the fucking ticket.
Right, and he did. He did have like a little bit of a diva moment about it, but I also think he should have been like, look, I'm like Jackie got my ticket because I'm at her table. Like, I don't know. I felt like there was a lot of stupidity going on, and and also the other thing is this too is like. Toya and Eugene have been unhelpful with this Met Gala in the past, and suddenly they're like in control of it. And I'm not totally sure they know exactly what they're doing, to be fair. And so when Eugene's like, well, you've got to buy a ticket. It's like, well, this is your first time at the rodeo. And I don't know. It feels like he doesn't really know what's going on.
I wish they had just called Jackie over and said, Jackie, he's saying that he's a part of your table, and then that would have solved it. But it's just like the guys are doing the housewives' job. They're like fighting with each other because they're fighting a proxy war between the women, and it's never going to work out well for either one of you,
Yeah.
So now we go to Heavenly. Heavenly went from filling cavities to campaigning to fill a congressional seat. Wow, I'm Andy Cohen, and I approve this package.
And by package, I mean whatever Steve Sanders is carrying between his legs. All right. Well, we have a lot to talk about. First, I want to play a little game. I'm going to ask some rapid fire questions about Heavenly, the candidate. So yay or nay, Heavenly would pass a background check.
So everyone says yay because they're like, and she's like,
Well, I'm a professional, so I don't have to.
which is just funny because, again, to your point at the beginning of the episode, like, yes, of course she has to pass a background check. She is a medical professional, but I do love there's just something to me about going on reality TV, which I think like chips away at the professional thing a little bit for anyone. I'm like, why are you on this show?
Especially Heavenly. Oh my God. All the stuff they could show, the opponent could show. So Toya won't answer, and Quad's like, just say yay, girl, Jesus. And she goes, okay, all right, yay. Okay, yay or nay, I would trust Heavenly with the nuclear codes. And everyone in America said no at the same time.
No.
Like my walls shook.
All right, Congress people do not have the nuclear codes, though, so don't worry about that.
And Heavenly goes,
Well, absolutely not. Toya didn't know that, though. Bitch.
And it's like, yay or nay, Heavenly needs a stylist. Not necessarily a campaign question, but sure, does she need a stylist?
and they're all like, yay.
It's like, well, Jackie takes me shopping, but it's too expensive. We have to bring that down, Jackie, which is why I am stooping for Talbot's having sales. If you bring Heavenly into office, Talbot's and Chico's will have sales.
Yay or nay, Heavenly's campaign has a higher chance of success than Heavenly's beauty supply.
And they're like, yes.
Well, I didn't even want a beauty supply store in the first place.
Yay or nay?
What happened to the beauty supply store? Did we know that tanked?
I totally forgot about that. But yeah, I guess that's done.
Oh my
Put it in the
gosh.
graveyard
What's
of
Laura
Bravo
doing?
ambitions.
What is she doing?
What is she doing, by the way? They'll be like, Alora just turned 30. I was like, how does that happen on these shows?
I know. Alora just had her first grandchild. It's like, what? How'd that happen?
Yay or nay, Heavenly tells the truth about our life.
And they're like, nay. She's like,
No, I absolutely do.
It's like, Heavenly only. A lot of viewers were concerned when you revealed Damon Jr.'s arrest. Can you give us an update?
so Heavenly gets very choked up and says that her son had a mental health emergency and they know where he is, but they haven't actively seen him. And there's a lot she wants to say, but it's his story to tell, so she's not going to put it out there. She would never put her family on blast. It's just that it was already out there in the news. And she basically says she called Mimi for help, and that Mimi helped a lot. And she's tried to do everything for her children. She's put them through private schools. She's tried to give back as much as she could. And she says that an epidemic in the nation is mental health, and that people need like that needs to be treated. And then we see Daddy back like in the green room watching and agreeing that that's like definitely an issue. And that if it weren't for the fact that he works in emergency rooms and knows people on police or and around, that, you know, then what's his face? Damon Jr. would have wound up getting sort of put into the system and gone down a different path.
Well, what they do is they put people in mental health issues in jail rather than giving them treatment.
Well, to be fair, we also put them on Bravo. So pat myself on the back there. Pat myself on the back.
And there's that too. Although The Bachelorette is giving us a good run for the money. Okay, not so happy about that.
I love the phrasing of this question.
Libra from Isn't Just Another Word for Book says Heavenly had to look up on the damn internet to find out about Junior's arrest. Damon should have told her ass first.
Well, Damon and I don't talk about everything. There are certain things I cannot handle, and there are certain things that he cannot handle, and that's the nature of our relationship. And everybody's relationship is different. So what I say to Libra is a different name for a book is your mama.
And just so you know, I don't wake up during filming and decide, oh, I'm going to put my family on blast. Heavenly. Shit happens spontaneously.
She goes, well, the difference between you and I, though, is my husband's too good to me.
And she goes, oh, really? My husband is too good to me, too. And I've been here longer. I've been with Cecil much longer than you've been with Damon. She goes,
well, every situation's different.
Yeah, we got married because we chose to, not because I was pregnant.
Damn.
All right, okay, whoa. Ladies, show of hands. Who would vote for Heavenly today?
Are we not allowed to get married because we're pregnant now? I mean, geez, what kind of diss is that?
Yeah. So
it's a better excuse than falling for Cecil.
Well, didn't Simone just also kind of like, wasn't she sort of edging towards shading Quad for having a baby without getting married?
Oh God,
so,
I don't know.
So everyone, so anyway, Toya's like,
Okay, we have enough liars. I'm telling you, I can't take another one. I'm sorry. All right, well, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with your campaign, aka I'm excited to see you back next season. Okay, so Dr. Simone, Dr. Heavenly were in a good place when they scrub it in for 12, but weaponized husbands and accusations of unhinged behavior at the table, but for friendship, create friendship-altering feud. Watch!
So now we're getting into Simone versus Heavenly.
Yes. And so Simone is saying, well, it's not about even needing support. It's about what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong.
And after you saw the footage, Jackie, and after the tape was rolled, for anybody sitting here to continue a narrative that just wasn't true, to stand behind a false allegation means that I have to take another look at you and your morals and your character.
And Jackie's like, well, I really want Simone, if she will today, to tell me what I could have said that would have made it right. Because I was humping the fence, if you want to know the truth. And Andy's like, yeah, that was the problem. I think if you wanted to say something that she wouldn't get mad at, you should have said, no, Heavenly did not push Simone. That's it.
Yeah.
It's not like a deep puzzle.
Right. And he's like, now that you've seen it, do you think that Simone is a physical threat to Heavenly? And Jackie's like, no, Simone is not a physical threat to anybody.
But I am.
Like,
Heavenly. Heavenly, who's running for office.
I am.
So why did you say that? And I asked you backstage and you said absolutely not. She was not a physical threat. So then why not say that?
Again, I was trying to be good friend to both parties.
But it's not the first time, though, that there's no wedge in your friendship. And the wedge always seems to be Heavenly.
I'm not trying to be a wedge, Andy. I don't even like that salad. Iceberg lettuce is bullshit. But I promise I'm not trying to be a wedge.
And he's like, well, I'm really hoping that we can resolve this. And you, Simone? And Simone's like, well, I don't think there is a resolution when you're still lying on me.
Well, I think everybody has their own truth, bitch.
And Simone is like, well, if your mind has you that delusional that you think that somebody hit or pushed you, but you're unhinged. But you've got to sit with a psychiatrist. Mimi is here and she is sitting close to her for a reason. I never had another black woman call me unhinged, aggressive, none of that. And he's like, yeah, I think it's about the physicality is the thing. And she's like, yes, but to allege that I pushed her, which by the way, I totally agree with Simone. She did not push her. She removed Heavenly's arm, which, if anything, she could spin as you were violating my space because you were touching me and I was removing myself from that situation or de-escalating that. If anything, Simone is the one who really has the case of anything, which really there's nothing there that happened. They were just posing for a photo. But either way, I love that Heavenly's like, well, you shouldn't touch anyone. I'm like, you were the one who had your arm draped on Simone without her permission.
Yeah. And she's like, you touched me and you shouldn't have touched me.
No, you grabbed my arm.
And she's like, oh my God, this girl is delusional. So Andy's like, back it up. Okay, you heard Jackie say, no uncertain terms, did she ever believe that you were physically aggressive before she saw the footage and after she saw the footage? She goes, well, if she had said that when she was talking to you, we wouldn't be having this discussion. But now she's saying it because she has no choice. And she's like, well, Andy, though. Do you remember what I said to you in the dressing room before we got on? Yes, he just said that in the dressing room, you said that it wasn't physical, so why didn't you bring that to the stage? Oh, Jackie. She's just like, just admit that I said something backstage when it didn't matter. So Simone's like, can you imagine at the hospital? And Heavenly goes, well, do you act like this at the hospital?
It doesn't matter. Do you act like that in your dental office? She's like, I do not. Shut up. Okay, stop. Let them speak. Okay, be quiet. Here you are running for a congressional seat and nothing has changed.
I tell the truth every single time.
So Simone's like, Quad hasn't been able to clean up nothing. She hasn't been able to alter nothing about you. And Quad's just laughing like, it's true. I can't fix Heavenly for the campaign trail. It's a cumbersome job.
But I do believe that Heavenly acts like this in the dental office. 100%. I believe that Heavenly's like,
well, hello, welcome in. I'm so glad to see you. Have a seat right here. What has it been, a year? It's been a year since I've said it's supposed to be 6 months, but it's a year and you're here now. And that's all the show me your teeth. You still haven't flossed. I told you to floss. I told her, bitch.
she gets, she gets all Heavenly in the dental chair.
So Jackie is like, Simone, this is important to me today. This is not a show. We've been through a lot for 30 years, okay? There were the vibrators. There were the scrubs. There were my wicked glasses. And I've always felt like you were safe. And I was a secret to you.
Don't forget, fit is the new it. Go ahead, Ben.
It is the new it. Lemon squeezes. So today, I want this about you and I. I don't care what they're saying right now. I need to know from you that if I have let you down and betrayed you, I want to fix it. She goes, so you come into me that night at Angel's event and you are the person most in the group that can get me down to earth when I am angry.
Me too. She does that for me too.
And you know, that night you came to me trying to settle me down and I kept going because I knew exactly what I was doing. People come for me and I was like, I'm clocked in, baby. I stay clocked in, ready to go if you come for me.
And I came to who? You. Instead of Heavenly, I came to you. And she's like, yeah, but you came to me. And then when we got to floor. Okay. So meanwhile, Angel is like, excuse me, Simone, you were acting. She's like pointing out like, hello, that party was a mess. It was my party and it was a mess. And you were acting crazy at that party.
Yeah.
But she kind of gets drowned out.
Well, the reason why she says that is because Simone is really upset because then when they went to their trip to the Florida Panhandle, that Jackie went over to Simone and was like, you really snapped. And Simone was upset because she's like, everyone was snapping, okay? And like, you're singled me out as if I'm the only one who did it. And Heavenly's like, yeah, and Heavenly's like, well, we all snapped, but she was just talking about you. And this is when Angel's like, yeah, but by the way, yes, we all snapped, but you were really snapping, okay? We can't lose the fact that you were off the handle or flying off the handle.
Yeah, and she's like, no, I'll stop snapping when people stop coming for me.
And Quad's like, wait a minute, are you talking to Jackie or what are we talking about now? So now Jackie and Toya switch spots so Jackie can sit with Simone. She walks over there and she's like, this is about me and you. I don't want to hear all of them. And she's like, yeah, but my point is in Florida, you are talking to me about the fact that I snapped off as if I was the only person who snapped. And she goes, no, I had the same conversation about snapping with Heavenly. Okay. And Heavenly's like, oh, she won't hold herself accountable. I just couldn't take it. I removed myself from the situation because she touched my arm and they fought for less than that.
Heavenly, this is such a failing argument from Heavenly.
It really is.
It's really bad. And the fact that she's still the footage is still there. The fact that she is still going hard about it. It is actually bad. Simone is a doctor. And it also kind of, I think it actually undermines people who have valid claims of that happening. I think, I don't think it's right. So Jackie is she's like, well, I wasn't isolating you. I was talking to you. So Simone, when I come to you, it's typical you and I, we zone out on everyone else. But this time, it hurts. And she goes, but Andy asked you a simple question. He did. And I answered it again based on the conversation that we'd had prior to even going to New York. And the conversation we had was you saying this. She goes, but the question has nothing to do about Unhinged. He said Simone pushed Heavenly, or is Heavenly making it up? And you said, well, I wasn't there. And he said, but you saw the footage and that note. She's basically going through it again about why she's upset with Jackie.
Yeah, and she's like, I'm watching you as my friend. You're supposed to represent me. And you know what happens if I were to hit or push or anything and a real case comes out of that? I have to answer with hospital privileges. I have to answer it with a malpractice suit. And she's like, okay, you're correct. And she goes, so if you tell the truth to me and you tell her the truth together, are we never going to end up back together? She says, we are never going to end up back together. You can take my word for it. And she's like, Simone. And she's like, nope, can't move forward. Don't want to, can't do it.
Dun, dun, dun. Until next episode when everything will be fine. Until next episode when they hug and they get through to each other.
Simone usually takes a year or so. She's usually not like a same reunion kind of forgiver. She needs like a year to get over it.
I hate when they fight, though. I actually really hate when Simone and Jackie
I hate when they fight. And the thing is, I get it, she's trying to be friends to Heavenly, but this is not the way to do it. And Heavenly's wrong all the time. I mean, Heavenly is my favorite person on this cast, but she's wrong 80% of the time. And you have to, if you're going to be friends with someone like that, you have to be like, no, you're wrong. You have to be okay saying that. Because Heavenly, I think, is okay taking it. She's used to being told she's wrong. She's wrong all the time.
Yeah,
so.
I think, and I don't think that Jackie should have played Switzerland in that moment. I think she's just so used to doing it. I get it, because I often will do that as well. I will often, in a situation where I'm like, I just don't want to be part of this, I'll take Switzerland. And that's probably what Jackie was doing. She probably was like, you know what? I don't want to get inserted into this mess. And then in her attempt to not be in the mess, she wound up directly in the center of it.
It seems like she is saying, Simone, your behavior was also crazy at that party. You guys had to be physically separated. It's not like Simone was, because the only clip they really show is Simone just going, please take your hand off of my arm. That's all they show, and it doesn't really look that wild. But the episode got wild, and so I think Jackie's looking at that and saying, yeah, but your behavior that night wasn't professional. So, I don't, you were acting unprofessional that night. But the thing is that the physical component is a big thing. When you accuse somebody of that and they didn't do it, that's a huge difference. So Jackie's just damn wrong for that.
I think Jackie messed up. I think Heavenly was wrong. I also think that, yes, the Simone has every right to be mad at Jackie. I would not end a friendship over it, because she is also focusing on woulda, coulda, shouldas that have not happened. So yes, it's a dangerous accusation. That being said, everyone can see that Simone did not get physical. Everything is okay. I just wouldn't. I think I would hold my friend's feet to the fire, express dissatisfaction, but cutting off a 30-year friendship, I think, is really extreme. Unless there's more brewing between the two of them than we know. So.
I don't know.
I'm sure it'll all be resolved.
You know what Tom's going to do? It's going to tell you. It's going to tell you. Tom will tell. So I don't know. I don't have any idea. But I need Jackie to be confronted about the thyroid comment. What were the other things missing from this?
The glasses. The wicked glasses did kind of drive me nuts. and that's I think that's it. The PT Cruiser maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess.
Okay.
Well, next week
that's
the
that for
men.
today.
Next week is gonna be the Steve Sanders show. He's been lighting up the internet with the clips that they've been showing of him telling Eugene that Eugene should be called Eugene Harris instead of, or Eugene Bush, I should say. Whatever.
Eugene Bush.
Eugene Bush.
Yeah.
We'll look forward to that. In the meantime, we'll see all of you at our Amazon Live and later at Crappy Hour. Thanks everyone for being here. We love you all so much. We'll talk to you on the next episode. Bye.